Okay, let's see. Tetzaveh base. Knowledge of Chumash is very helpful for these next two blot. So, and Tanakh, and Nach, and calendar, acumen, whatever. All right, we'll try and get through. It's not hard. It's just not. It's not nearly as contentious as the last few days. Fine. So Zakti Gemara, second line up from the bottom, Chav Tetzaveh base. Yeah, Itmar. Chaliyas Va'ata Tetzaveh. So now, if the parsha for Shkalim, again, we've been talking about the Dalit parshiyos. When do we have them? When do we have them fall out? Meaning, when do we make them? Right. So the basic order of the parshiyos is those Truma, Tetzaveh, Ki Sisa. So we said yesterday is a Machlokes, which laning is of Shkalim. Is it the Rosh Chodesh laning? Is that the parsha we read by Shkalim? And we said because like Reb Tavi, who held that it's to pay for the karbonos. So since it's to pay for the karbonos, so therefore it's we read the parsha of the carbon tamid. That was one shita. The other shita was no, we read the parsha of giving a shekel, which is in parshas Ki Sisa, which comes immediately after parshas Tetzaveh. Right? So, okay. So I wanted to just yesterday we left off with the grass. Well, that was 2 days ago. Was it in the beginning of yesterday's daf? It was the beginning of yesterday's daf. We said that you're not supposed to cut grass in the base haftorahs, right? So we asked that people have this minig to tear the grass when they leave a base haftorahs. Right. So first of all, it's a mechaber in Hilchas Avelos that you're supposed to tear grass when you leave. But it seems like it's only after the levaya. And the Badei Shulchan brings this kasha from the Gemara on Daf Yomi Megilla, that how he says you're not supposed to tear the grass. So what are we doing? So he brings a couple of pshatim. One is that means the grass right over the grave, that you shouldn't do. But a grass not near the grave is allowed. And the Chazon Ish says dalet amas away from the grave is what you so that's where you tear the grass. Then that's okay. Meaning this Gemara that we said that you're not supposed to tear grass in a cemetery, that's only right near the kvarim. But after that, then it's okay. So that's basically the way they touched it. Okay, so fine. So then again, so you have Tetzaveh and then Ki Sisa. So what happens if the Shabbos that Shkalim is supposed to be is Tetzaveh? So what's going to happen? You're laning Tetzaveh, and then right after that, Ki Sisa. Right, so Itmar Chaliyas Pa'ata Tetzaveh. So Amar Rav Yitzchak Nafchat Karu Shisa. So what do? You read 6 aliyahs from Pa'ata Tetzaveh, which is the week's parsha, ad Ki Sisa, until the parshas Ki Sisa. V'chad Ki Sisa ad V'asisa, and one, the 7th aliyah, reads from Ki Sisa to V'asisa. So Amar Abaya on Tamid Aleph now we start today's daf. Yeah, Amar Abaya Amri. People are going to say, if that's the way you're going to set up the laning, ukmi hu de kamaykim hasam. Right? They're not going to chop that we laned a special parsha of Ki Sisa. They're just going to say, oh, it's the next, it's just the next, they laned this week's parsha, an extra aliyah. That's all. Because again, Tetzaveh runs right into Ki Sisa. So if you're going to do 6 aliyahs of Tetzaveh and then 1 aliyah of Ki Sisa, so then it runs right in. It's not going to be recognizable that there's anything special about Parsha Shkalim. So that's
Isn't it the Raisa that they have to have kavana?
No, I don't think it's a din in kavana.
So what's the difference if they don't know what's going on?
It isn't the point of the Shkalim that they should. Or did we do that yet? Or we're going to do that tonight?
Then they should be paying attention and know that what's going on.
Right. So then they just think, oh, this week they just extended the parsha by an aliyah. Right.
And they're not aware that week is Parsha Shkalim? Like that it's Shabbos Shkalim?
I guess they didn't have parsha sheets with the kids coming home from school with them, so how are they supposed to know? I don't know.
They may think that he made a mistake and kept going.
You think so?
Maybe he just kept going. They don't make a big deal out of it. Okay, he laned a little bit more. He didn't know when to stop. Could be. I'm just he passed the stop sign. Do not pass go.
So okay, but whatever, it's not going to be nicker. But I hear what David's asking, that it's still you. I mean, why? Who needs it to be nicker? Just read Parsha Shkalim.
Yeah, but no, because you're making it parsha Shkalim, that people should know what it is. That it's for a reason we're blaming parsha Shkalim. People should be aware now that they're going to go. They have to bring the Shkalim. They have to collect.
Right, so they have to be aware of it, so that they should know that.
It shouldn't be just like got to make a deal out of it.
Okay, I hear that teretz. Because so Abai has a different shot though. Abai says this is the way you do it. Karu Shisa meve'ata Tetzaveh. You read 3 from ve'ata Tetzaveh ad ve'osisa, including ve'osisa, meaning you read 6 aliyahs including Ki Sisa. And then v'chad tani v'kari mi Ki Sisa ad ve'osisa. And then the 7th aliyah goes back and reads parshas Ki Sisa again. Like this, it's more recognized. Everyone's going to say, what are we going back and laning again for? Oh, you're going back and laning again because it's parsha Shkalim. Right? Fine. So that's the Machlokes, how to read it. So Meisvei, Kolias, but by the way, this can't happen anymore nowadays. Parshas Tetzaveh cannot come out in parsha Shkalim. This was all when Mekadosh al Ariyah, so then it was possible. But nowadays that we have the set calendar, it can never, this scenario can never happen. Fine. Meisvei, Kolias, but parsha Smuchala. So when I ask, so if it falls out, if Shkalim falls out of a parsha that's next to it, which is Tetzaveh, right? It's interesting that the Gemara changes the terminology, but it means the same thing. If it Shkalim, which is Ki Sisa, falls out by parsha Tetzaveh, whether this Shabbos is the Shabbos before or after, right? You read it for and you double it, right? Meaning you say it again. So according to Abai, it makes sense, right? Because that you're reading it twice, right? You're not reading it twice. You only read it once, right? Which is what Abai's taina was, that it's not recognizable. So this Bryce sounds like it's like Abai. So I'm like Rabbi Yitzchak Nachman or Rabbi Yitzchak was no. Well, Abai mean nicha, and according to Abai, isn't nicha? Tinach lefanel lachareh hechi mishkachas. That's, you're going to find it if when Tetzaveh comes before Ki Sisa, but lachareh hechi mishkachas. How are you going to find it afterwards? Elamayas l'mem. What are you going to say? Kaifla b'Shabbos. You double it by Shabbos, by when it's 2. Well, you're going to say it twice on 2 Shabbos in a row. So the kaifla doesn't mean you read the parsha twice. You're going to end up reading Ki Sisa 2 weeks in a row. So then it does fit in. Right, okay, fine. Cholias b'chi Sisa atzma, but let's say parsha Shkalim falls out on parshas Ki Sisa, which again we said cannot happen. Right, so now that's the regular week's parsha. Right, so since it's the regular week's parsha, how's anybody going to know that there's a special parsha of Ki Sisa? So Cholias b'chi Sisa atzma. Amar Yitzchak Nafcha karu Shisa min vasisa ad vayakel. So you read 6 from vasisa until vayakel. V'chad kari mi Ki Sisa ad vasisa, and 1 is going to read from Ki Sisa until vasisa. So Maskul Abaya, same question. Hashta amri lemafreya hu dekari. Now people are going to say you're reading backwards. I mean, not backwards, meaning you're going to read. They're not going to chap that there was. They're not going to realize that there was what do you call it first? The Shkalim, right? So then I keep slapping because there's bugs here. If anybody's watching me, I think I'm crazy. It's like the summer over here with the flies. Okay, so anyway, so Abai is asking, people are going to think that you do it lemafrei, you're doing it out of order. So karu Shisa ad vayakel. So what happens is you have 6 people read until vayakel. V'chad tani the Kari Ki Sisa ad Sisa, and then one goes back and reads again from Ki Sisa till Sisa. Okay, either we understand, we don't understand. These both scenarios are not negay anymore. Fine. Tani Gav say Dabaya, Chalias B'Ki Sisa Atzma. If parsha Shkalim falls in on parshas Ki Sisa, Kari Noisa V'Kaif Noisa, you read it and then you go back and say it again. So basically, you're reading the first part of Ki Sisa twice. Fine. Next technicality. Doesn't
that answer Yitzchak Nafka's first kasha?
Why?
He asked on the first one, Abaya minicha, because Shabbos la'achareo, you're not kaifel it. You don't double it up. Abaya just said you do double it up. So now, according to Abaya, the first price, whether it falls on Tetzaveh or it falls on Ki Sisa, you're kaifel it. So the brisa works according to Abaya, not according to Yitzchak Nafka.
You mean you want to say that kaiflin is different? It's back to the other original kaiflin.
Yeah.
I hear. Okay, man, that's not a bad point. I hear that. Okay, so let's see. So Chalias B'Seicha Shabbos Makdim l'Shabbos Shavra. If it falls out on Shabbos, mean not on Shabbos, in Shabbos. Again, B'Seich Shabbos here doesn't mean in Shabbos. It means during the week, right? So Makdim l'Shabbos Shavra, you always go to the week before. So meaning if Rosh Chodesh falls out during the week, which it almost always does, so parshas Shkalim is the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh. So Itmar Rosh Chodesh Adar Shechalias Be'erev Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh Adar, what happens if it falls out on a Friday? So Rav or Makdim, and Rav says you go earlier, like you would do if it falls out on Sunday through Thursday. Shmuel Amar Ma'achar, and Shmuel says no. When it falls out, when Rosh Chodesh Adar falls on a Friday, you push Parsha Shkalim to Shabbos. Rav Amar Makdim, and Rav says you make earlier Dim Kain, Batzrilahu Yom Shulchanis, because if you're not, then you're going to need the days of the Shulchanis, right? Like we said yesterday's daf, that the reason why we reach Shkalim a month before is to let everybody know they got to start changing in their money with the half shekels. So if you're not going to make it earlier and you make it later, so they're not going to have their full 30 days. Shmuel Amar Ma'achrin. Shmuel says you push it off. Amalach Saif Saif. Chamesa Maili Shabsa Mikla. Because what's going to happen if Rosh Chodesh falls out on a Friday, so then Tetzaveh falls out on a Friday also. Rosh Chodesh lo nafki ad chad b'shabsa v'shava. And these money changes are not going out until Sunday either. Anyway, so Hilkach, because they're not going to go start traveling on a Friday. Hilkach ma'achrin, so we push it off till Shabbos, right? So we don't have to start, and then we don't have to have a week off between Shkalim and Zachor.
Daka, maybe this is the raya not to travel on a Friday.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. I think this is a riot, right? Yeah, I think that's 100%. That they didn't travel at all. They didn't even travel, before Chatzos or whatever it is, right? Okay, so then so Tanan, so they ask a kasha Chalias B'Seicha Shabbos. So if it falls out during the week, Makdim and L'Shavar, you make Shkalim the Shabbos before, Mafsik and L'Shabbos Acheres, and then you take a break the next Shabbos. My love, Afilu Erev Shabbos. Does this not mean even on Erev Shabbos? So when it says Lo B'Seicha Shabbos Dafka, no, it means Dafka during the week. So meaning from Sunday through Thursday, not Friday. Toshima, Ezi Shabbos Rishayna, which is the first Shabbos for the 4 parshiyos. Kol Shechal Rosh Chodesh Adar Liyas B'Seicha. If Rosh Chodesh Adar falls out during that week, Afilu Erev Shabbos, even on Erev Shabbos, and then you make it earlier. My love, Afilu Erev Shabbos Dumi the Toicha, and isn't even on Erev Shabbos similar to the middle of the week? Ma Toicha Makdimin, just like when it falls out in the middle of the week, meaning Sunday through Thursday, so you make it earlier. After Erev Shabbos Makdimin, so Erev Shabbos you also make it earlier. So Amar Shmuel, so Shmuel said, Ba. It says Ba. I can't say I fully understand this teretz here. It says Ba. So means when Rosh Chodesh falls out during the week, meaning Ba in it, right? And it doesn't really make a difference whether it's on a Friday or the rest of the week. Okay, I don't know how you see that from the word Ba, but that's what Abai is being retarded. V'chein Tana Dvei Shmuel Ba. and it says that's the word that tells us that it falls out at any time. So we say ketanoi. This is a machlokes tanoim. Mesagin l'shabbosos. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not from saying anything, but Bo is 7.
Oh, you're saying all 7 days.
Maybe.
Oh, I hear, but okay, I don't know. Does it work? Because if it doesn't fall out on Shabbos.
On Shabbos, yeah.
Right. I hear. Okay. Interesting. So anyways, good to know. So Mesagin Shabbos, you skip Shabbos. You don't skip Shabbos. You're going to do all four parshiyos in 4 weeks in a row. When did I say that you don't skip Bisman Shechali better Shabbos? That's when Rosh Chodesh Adar falls on a Friday. Bisman Shechali Shabbos. But when Rosh Chodesh falls out during the middle of the week, meaning from Sunday through Thursday, you read from the Shabbos before, Shvat, even though it's still Shvat, right? Because again, it's the week before Adar. So basically, he's saying that we do differentiate between Rosh Chodesh Adar falling out on a Friday and it falling out on Sunday through Thursday. Fine. So then we say B'shniya Zachor. So the second week, what's the second week? Is parsha Zachor. Yeah. Itmar Purim Shechali is better Shabbos. Purim falls on Erev Shabbos. Rav Omar Makdim and parsha Zachor. So again, the same Machlokes. If Purim, but here we're talking about Purim now. Till now we were talking about Rosh Chodesh Adar. Now we're talking about Purim. So Purim falls on Erev Shabbos. Rav Omar Makdim and parsha Zachor. We push parsha Zachor to the Shabbos before. Shmuel Amar Ma'achar, and you push parshas Zachor to the Shabbos, which comes out that Friday is Purim, and Shabbos is when you're reading parshas Zachor, according to Shmuel. So Rav Amar Makdim and Kihechi Delay Tiktum Asil Zechira. You want to make Zachor first because Zachor is just the mentioning of destroying Amalek, and Purim is the actual doing it. So you want to make sure that you mention parshas Zachor before Purim. Shmuel says you push it off. Malach will tell you, so since the walled cities Lamaisa are keeping Purim on that Shabbos, and so at least for them, the mentioning what do you call it? Amalek on the same day that they're keeping Purim, that's fine. So as long as it works
for the rest of the world, it's not as important.
Right. Right. As long as somebody could have it, that's enough. And the rest of the world will be reading Zachor after. Yeah, that's what comes out. What are you saying?
All over the world is not.
Even though all over the world is not. Yeah, isn't
there a sheet that says that if you miss, you could be Yotzei B'diavad on Purim morning also for the Zachor?
Yes, there is a sheet that says that. The Magen Avraham says that. He's saying maybe that's for everybody. Right, but that's not. 1 second. That won't reflect. I mean.
So would that work over here? Why do you have to? According to that, why do you have to lain it afterwards on Shabbos? You Yotzei anyways on Purim morning.
Because not everybody would hear it on Purim.
Can you be Yotzei this Shabbos?
Why?
That's a Machlokes. That's a Machlokes hapaiskim, as they say.
So that would be the same thing as that Magen Avraham, no?
Oh.
But I don't think we do this anyways nowadays, right? When there's a Purim Rishulish. Well, we don't paskin like that anyway, so.
What's last year?
Right, so they don't, when did they say parshas Zachor? The week before.
We always have the week before. We never have it afterwards.
Right, I know, but the Shmuel seems to be paskening this way. We don't pasken like Rab. I mean, that's the way we're paskening like Rab. Right? So, but according to Shmuel, they would be parsha Zachor on all. Yeah.
Am I making a mistake here? Or according to Shmuel, is there always a gap of a week here? If Purim falls on, if Yud Dalet
according to
is
Shmuel,
on
there's going to
Friday,
be a gap of a week, 100%.
every single time, whenever Rosh Chodesh falls out. If Purim falls on Friday, that means Rosh Chodesh was on Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh is on Shabbos. Everyone holds lain Shkalim on Shabbos. Zachor, Rav holds is the following week. Shmuel holds there's a gap.
Yeah. So what's the problem?
I'm just saying, according to
There will be a
Shmuel,
gap,
there's always going to be a gap. Every year there's a gap.
L'chayra. No, Thursday. Yeah, I would say, okay, yeah. That's what comes out. Okay. So Tanan, B'shniya, Zachor. The second Shabbos of the 4 Shabbos, we read parshas Zachor. But when Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbos, Reish Yarcha here, I don't know why it changes it to Yarcha. When it's been saying Rosh Chodesh. Right, when Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbos, Mikla Purim Berev Shabbos, and Purim falls out on Friday 2 weeks later. Vikatani B'shniya Zachor. And it says in the second week it's Zachor. Right? So I'm gonna pop my Shniya la hafsaka. It means the second week from when you stopped. Meaning when you took a break between Shkalim and Zachor, so it's the second week. Right? Yeah, fine. So Tashima, Eza Shabbos Shniya, there's the same Shakabatar as before. What's the second Shabbos? Kol Shechal Purim Liyas B'Soicha. If Purim falls out during the week, Vafilu Erev Shabbos, even on Erev Shabbos, my love, Erev Shabbos to be the Toicha. Erev Shabbos is similar to Toicha. Ma Toicha Makdimin, just like Toicha is make it earlier off Erev Shabbos Makdimin. So Erev Shabbos, we also make it earlier. Yeah, fine. So Omar Shmuel, Ba. So what Shmuel answers, no, that's not a raya. Because it says Ba, Shmuel, Ba, and in the base marriage of Shmuel, they also said the word Ba. Fine. Next case, Cholias b'Shabbos Atzma. If Purim falls out on Shabbos, meaning Yudalid falls out on Shabbos, again, that can't happen anymore because of the set calendar. So Omar, Rav Huna said, L'divrei Hakol ein makdimin. Then, when Purim falls out on Shabbos, according to everybody, you don't read parshas Zachor the week before. For Rav Nachman, Omar, Adayini Machlokes. No, it's the same Machlokes, whether you push it to the week before or not. Right, but here, at least most of the world is going to be reading Parsha Zachor at the same time as Purim. Itmanami Amrochi Barabba Amar Abba Amar Rav Purim Shecholias b'Shabbos Makdim v'Kara b'Shabbos She'avra Zachor. You go and you read Parsha Zachor the week earlier. Fine. So that's the second week is Parsha Zachor. The Shlisha is Parah Aduma. So Tarabanan Ezi Shabbos Shlishis. What is the third week? What do you read the third week? Kol Shesmu. Not now. Which is the third week? Kol Shesmucha lePurim me'achareh. Whatever is the closest to Purim, right after Purim, meaning the Shabbos after Purim, we're going to be reading Parshas Parah. Say Itmar, Rav Chama Bar Chanina Amar, Shabbos Hasmucha l'Rosh Chodesh Nisan. No, it's not necessarily the Shabbos
Unless
after
you're reading Zachor. Wasn't there one opinion that said Zachor's read as Shabbos
correct.
after?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what would this be? This would be the week after that, or that would be the same week?
Wait, wouldn't it be the week after? The only reason Shmuel says that it's the day after Erev Shabbos is because that Shabbos he calls Purim. Shushan
Right.
Purim, he's calling Purim. So Smucha Lachrei, according to Shmuel, will be the following week.
Smucha l'Achareh. It depends if you're looking
7
at
days after Purim.
Depends if you're looking at it from the walled city's perspective or from the not walled
He went
city's
and called the walled city's perspective Purim according to everyone. Since in the walled cities that it'll be Mahadi Adadi, so we consider it Purim for everyone, and it's Mahadi Adadi.
Right. Right, but
So
Lemais it's not.
Lacharel is going to be the following week.
Right, but for the not walled cities, Lemais it's not.
Yeah, but he didn't have that shver. He was still calling it Mahadi Adadi even for the not walled cities.
Right.
Means he called it Mahadi Adadi for the walled city, for the not walled cities, even though they're 98% of the world's Jewish population don't live in walled cities.
Correct.
Nevertheless,
Okay.
you always go after the walled cities. So it's always Mahadi Adadi. So that's called Purim. That Shabbos is Purim. So the following week is the one Lacharel.
Right. I hear you. Okay, but it really depends on the perspective. But anyways, yeah. So Itmar Rav Chama bar Chanina Amar Shabbos is Smuchel Rosh Chodesh Nisan. He disagrees. He says it's not the Shabbos right after. It's the Shabbos closest to Rosh Chodesh Nisan. V'loy pligi. There's no Machlokes. How do equal Rosh Chodesh Nisan b'Shabbos? What is wrong when Rosh Chodesh Nisan falls out on Shabbos? So then, when to fall out on Shabbos, so you're going to do it the week before all the equal be'emtza Shabbos, and one is somewhere where Rosh Chodesh falls in the middle of the week. Right? So then parshas Chodesh is before Rosh Chodesh. You got to always make sure that parshas Chodesh is before. You can't start reading parshas Chodesh again. Chodesh is Elochem Rosh Chodashim is about Nisan being the first Rosh Chodesh. So that has to be read before Nisan or on Rosh Chodesh Nisan if it falls out on Shabbos. There's no Machlokes. Chodesh is Elochem. So Tanrabanan. Rosh Chodesh Adar Shkalim b'Shabbos. If Rosh Chodesh Adar falls out on Shabbos, Ki Sisa. So you're going to read parshas Ki Sisa, right? That's parshas Shkalim. Umaftirin b'Yehayada in Yehayada, right? Right. We said that yesterday's blood, the end of yesterday's blood. Yeah, and so that's that's the what's called Melech Yehoyash and Yehayada, right? And it talks about how he redid the Beis Hamikdash. Be'ezei Shabbos Rishayna. And what's the first Shabbos? Kol shechol Rosh Chodesh Adar lias b'Seicha. If Rosh Chodesh Adar falls out in middle of the week, vafilu be'erev Shabbos, even on a Friday, that's considered the first week. Before that, B'Shniya, Zachor, and the second week you read parsha Zachor, Maftirim, Pakadati, and you make the haftorah Pakadati, right? Which is what do you call it? That's not, but I think that's not right. That's not what we do. We do about what do you call it? Shol. Right? Right. Ve'ezahi Shabbos Shniya. What's the second Shabbos? Kol shechol Purim liyos b'Seicha. When Purim is going to fall out during that week, so then Shabbos is before that. But filu be'erev Shabbos, even if Purim falls on erev Shabbos, right? These are all not according to Shmuel. B'Shlish is Parah Aduma. The third week is Parah Aduma. Umaftirin and haftorah is zarakti aleichem, and I'm gonna sprinkle on you the Parah Aduma. Ve'ezahi Shabbos Shlishis. What's the third Shabbos? Kol shesmuchel lePurim achareh. Whatever is the closest Shabbos to Purim, right after Purim. B'Revius hachodesh hazeh umaftirin koyam Hashem alekim b'rishon be'echad hachodesh. Right? Okay, fine. On to Beis now. Be'ezahi Shabbos Revius, and what's the fourth week? Kol shechol Rosh Chodesh Nisan lias b'Seicha. When Rosh Chodesh Nisan falls out during that week, Shabbos, so you read the Shabbos before. Right, so we got this long Rashi over here, and he puts a siman, right? The Rashi puts a siman on how to figure out this whole thing. So he says Zatu, and then Beis Vav, and the fourth line down in the Rashi. So he goes through all the options. Zatu, Bu, Dad. I don't even know if that's the way you pronounce it, but right. But Zion, if it falls out on Shabbos, right? So then Tetzaveh is going to be, then it's going to be on the Tetzaveh. There's going to be hafsaka on Tetzaveh, and then so on and so forth. Rashi goes through all the different calculations. Ayin Shom, as they say, right? Fine. But then on the fifth week we go back to the regular order. The regular order of what? So this came up once before. So let's say what's the order? So Ravami Omer, let's say the parshiyos. You go back to the parshiyos, which Rashi says, meaning according to his shita, they didn't lain the regular parsha at all. Right? This is what my nephew was excited about yesterday's daf. They didn't read the Dalit parshiyos. They did not read the parshiyos at all. They put everything on hold. Right? And Rav Yirmiyah, let's say the haftorahs, you go back to the regular haftorahs, which means that Rav Yirmiyah holds no. They lain the regular parsha. Then maftir, they lained Shkalim, Zachor, Parah, and Chodesh. But for haftorahs, we lain special haftorahs, which we obviously paskin like Rav Yirmiyah, because we do lain the regular parsha. Amar Abaya Kavasei the Rav Ami Mistavra, right? It's more Mistavra like Rav Ami. The Tanan L'chol Mafsikin, right? We stop for everything. The Rosh Chodeshim, the Chanukah, the Purim, like during the week. Right, this is the end of the Mishnah. We stop the weekday laning for Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim, Tinius, Mamadas, Yom Kippurim, and when we said that Yom Kippur means from Mincha Yom Kippur. So Vishlam Mandam, let's say the parshiyos Chayzer. So according to Mandam, it says that you go back to the parshiyos, which means you skip the regular weekly Sedra, Hanudika Parsha B'chol. That's where you're going to have a parsha during the week. Halamandam, let's say the haftorahs Chayzer. But according to Mandam, it says you go back to the haftorahs, haftorah B'chol Miika, is the haftorahs during the week? No. So then what is the Mishnah talking about that you stop? So what's Rav Yirmiyah going to do with this? Hakati Isa. Say no, one is talking about Shabbos and one is talking about the weekdays. One has nothing to do with the other. Fine. So the Gemara says, with tinius lamali hafsaka, right? Why do you have to stop for tinus? Why do you have to stop the regular laning? Meaning when a tinus falls out on a Monday or a Thursday, do you lane that week's laning, or do you lane the laning for the tinus? Right? So why do you need to stop? Likri mitzafra binyana diyama. Why can't you read in the morning the regular laning of fast days? Uva mincha b'tanisa. I'm sorry. In the morning you lane the regular laning, the regular that week's parsha, and then uva mincha b'tanisa, and on mincha you lane the tinus. So Messiah leila Rav Huna. This is the proof to Rav Huna. Mitzafra kinufya. This proves, and we had this in the tinus. This whole Gemara is a repeat from tinus. Then in the morning is when everybody gets together on the fast day. Since everybody gets together on the fast day in the morning, therefore we want to lane the fast day laning in the morning.
Does that mean less people are davening mincha? What does that mean?
I think the special gathering for the tinus is then. So I mean, I imagine everybody's going to daven, right? Yeah, but the main gathering, let's see how the Gemara says it, because the Gemara describes it. And how did they do it? Amar Abaye, mitzafra lepalgadiyama, from the morning till half the day, till chatzos, me'ayninon b'mili demasa. So with the ra'ayin into the town, into everything that's going on in the town to see what they can improve. So it means there was no gathering. Mepalgadiyama lepanya, river diyama. So from half the day till the afternoon, meaning a quarter of the day, Korah, then you read from the Torah, Umafter, and you do haftorah. And the other quarter of the day, then they have Rahmanas, meaning they ask for Rahmanas. They daven Shenemar, the Yikru, B'Sefer Torah, Hashem Elokehem, Revi'as Hayom, or Revi'as Hayom is Vadim Mushtachavim. Right, so they read the Torah for a quarter of the day, and the other quarter of the day, they do Vidoy and they bow down. Right? Right? So the Gemara says, well, why don't we switch it? Meaning, why should you do all the davening in the afternoon of the fast? They do all the davening in the morning. Because the pasuk says is they gather in the morning, and then they just sit in the afternoon until the korban mincha. And then in the evening by mincha, I get up from my tinus, right? So, therefore, so you see that the whole gathering there's the I'm sorry, it's not the gathering is not the daven. The gathering of daven is in the afternoon, but in the gathering to try and make a cheshbon to figure out what's going on in the city. So therefore, there's no laning, right? That's the way Rashi explains it, right? So they gather everybody, and memela, there's no time by chakras to read the Torah. Which is quite an interesting thing, because I understand on a fast day, you don't have time to read the Torah, right? So, yeah. Okay, should we do the Mishna? Okay, let's do the, well, should we do the Mishna? Yeah, let's do the Mishna. Fine. So, Zach the Mishna. Okay, so that's the harder part of the daf for this week. Pesach Karba parshas Mayados. Now the Gemara, the Mishna just goes through what we lain and all the Yom Tovim. So on Pesach we read the parshas Mayados Shataras Kayana. You read all about the Yom Tovim that are in Vayikra. Batzeres Shiva Shavuos. On Shavuos we read Shiva Shavuos, right? For Rosh Hashanah, b'chodesh Shvi b'echad l'chodesh, on the 7th month and the 1st of the month. That's about Rosh Hashanah. B'yom Kippurim, acharei ma'is, and Yom Kippur is acharei ma'is. B'yom Tov Rishon Shalcha Karim parshas Moedos shebeToras Kohanim. You read parshas Moedos of Toras Kohanim, which is similar to Pesach. And the rest of Sukkot, you read all the different karbonos. On Chanukah we do in parshas Nasai, right? All the different Nisim.
What do you mean by similar? Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah, just I think when we start in different. Well, that's
if
similar.
it's Shabbos. That's if it's Shabbos.
Yeah. Okay.
We start in the same place if it's during the week over Shabbos. The same thing. Both apply.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Correct. So then, Purim v'yom v'yamalek, v'rashi chadashim, v'rashi chadshechem. Mamodos again is when they're accompanying the kohanim. So when the people that don't go to the Beis Hamikdash, they do mamodos. That's ma'aseh bereishis. The tiniest and the tiniest brachos u'klalos, the brachos and klalos. Right, we don't do this obviously. The ain mafsikim because we do about after the tshuva that they did after the what do you call it? Egel. Ain mafsikin beklalos, and when you do read the klalos, you don't stop. Ela echad kares kunz one aliyah. Fine. B'sheni v'chamishi b'Shabbos. Shabbos sheni v'chamishi b'Shabbos mincha karin kesidron. You read in the regular order. Bein oilam lehem in a cheshbon, and they don't go in the cheshbon, meaning you just read the same thing over and over again. Mincha Shabbos, as we know, and then Monday and Thursday, you don't go along with the parsha. Shenemar v'yidaber Moshe es moedei Hashem al bnei Yisrael. It says as you kol echad v'echad b'zmanoi. You need to read everything in its proper time. So that's going on the whole Mishna, right? That every Yom Tov you have to read with each and every Yom Tov, right? Okay. This Amud here in the Torah it brings 33 psukim to this Amud. There's pretty much this is coming Amud as tomorrow's daf. There's not much to it. It's just basically just all the psukim or at least the beginning psukim from all the laning.
A lot of the Gemaras don't even put the new Gemaras have the psukim. They don't even do that. They just say where it is.
Yeah, so I'm saying that's how I noticed it. I looked at it. They don't even have the room to bring the psukim.
Right. They just say yeah.
The newfangled Gemaras. That's the way they have it. Yeah. All right. So we got away easy tonight. Short and sweet.
It's interesting that on certain times we add these extra parshiyos at the end, like for the maftir, but Shabbos Chol Hamoed, we push off the entire lain. Or on Yantav.
Again, what are you saying?
Saying it's in some Yom Tovim or Shkalim or whatever it is, Rosh Chodesh, just saying just lean those portions. But we add it to the end. But we add it to the end of our regular Shabbos parsha. On a Chol Hamoed or on a Yantiv, it pushes off the regular Shabbos parsha.
As opposed to when? Rosh Chodesh? What were you saying?
I would say Shkalim, for example. Shkalim, you read it at the end of reading regular parsha.
Right. I mean, why talk
about Chol Hamoed Sukkos, you're not reading the parsha. You're pushing it off until after Sukkos is over.
Avi, because that would mess up Simchas Torah if you did it. If you read the parsha then.
Okay, fine. So Pesach Chol Hamoed or Shavuos.
Oh, okay.
No, you would get Vayelech and
Well, Chol Hamoed Shavuos, we don't
Tovim Vayelech would be separate.
Chol Hamoed Shavuos.
1 second. You're saying what? That why don't we push off the parsha on Chol Hamoed, but we don't push it off in Shkalim and the Dalit parshiyos, right?
Right, or Rosh Chodesh, or Chanukah, or any of these other parshas the Gemara just mentioned.
You're right. I mean, you're asking why it works that? Why we do it that
way? We don't paskin like Rav Ami. It's Rav Ami.
Right, we don't. We paskin like Rav Yirmiyah.
But we would paskin like Rav Ami if it was Yantif for Chol Hamoed.
It could be obviously because we want to have more time to party on Yom Tov. So Shabbos Chol Hamoed is just like Yom Tov. The laning on Yom Tov is way shorter than a Shabbos laning.
Not
Right.
necessarily when there's kol b'chor.
Because you wake up
When
for the
there's
davening.
koheles, Yizker, koheles, on Shavuos, there's like, what do we have, like Damas? Not always so much shorter.
The laning, I'm saying, the laning.
Well, laning on Shavuos is shorter because everybody's
The
sleeping,
laning.
so that's not it's
Right.
shorter. I don't know, Taka. We got to look into that. Why Taka and Cholamayid do we not do that? Although Cholamayid,
That's the
Shabbos,
Mishnah.
Cholamayid Pesach, Cholamayid Tzuk is the same laning Shabbos, right?
Yes.
So there has to be something to it that they want that to be laned. And Rabban, you're probably right also that they didn't want how many they want to do the regular parsha plus whatever it is that they want to do a Cholamayid. It's interesting that the Gemara doesn't discuss it at all. You're right. I was like, why isn't the Gemara telling us what we lane on Cholamayid? Maybe in Mayad Cotton it discusses it. I don't know.
Maybe it depends which program you go to.
If you go to the right program, then you can pay people to listen to laning for you.
If you go to the right program, you don't have to have any laning.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Krias,
I hear.
Yaakov.
I wouldn't know. I'm just assuming.
Right. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
Yaakov. I was
yeah.
doing yesterday's daf earlier today, so we were talking about the kapandria, the kapandaria. So
Right.
you mentioned Rabbi Ram Kleinkaufman. So I always thought he did it because of the Gemara in Baba Basra that there's a chazaka once it's open for too many years. Is that the halacha? If somebody has a shortcut, I always thought that was the reason why he did it.
It could be that's why, but it's been open right now that it's already been open for years and years.
For too many years. I think I remember he used to put up like a macha in the wind in YFR. Something I forgot. I don't know.
He did so. I know he did something. I think he did right. Maybe that's what he did. He locked the gate and then he put up a sign.
Because you were mentioning something about his grass growing. I said I don't think he didn't want people walking through. I don't know if he didn't want Rabbi Parah walking through, or I don't know what.
I ain't getting involved with that.
Yeah, but as Baba Basra would be a problem though. It's a Meitzer Shehuchzik by Rabin. You can't just close it off.
He closed
that's
it
what
off
he's saying. He did it every once in a while. So
Doesn't help. It's not like Erevin to close the street off to make it work.
It was private property. It was his own backyard.
Private property doesn't help with a Meitzer Shehuchzik by Rabin.
But there was no
depends
chazaka.
what the chazaka is. He was trying to not let the chazaka happen.
Wait, what? Cheskes karka happens as soon as it's huchzik by Rabin. Doesn't matter if a week you decide that no one's coming in. It's still huchzik by Rabin.
I don't know. I don't know the Gedorim.
What did you just say?
What?
Huh?
I didn't say anything controversial.
No. I'm worried if I ever get my yard back. I'm worried based on what you're saying now.
No, because that might
They
be
use your
out tonight. You gave
shortcut?
it out tonight if you use it for a shul. It's not.
He will never get his yard back.
Just a shortcut, you mean?
He will never get that
Right,
yard
Aaron,
back.
you think COVID's gonna ever be over until Mashiach comes in New York?
One second.
It ain't never gonna be over.
One second. You think the shul has anything to do with COVID? I'm just curious.
Not anymore, but Lamaisa, yeah. So long as there's COVID in the air in New York, everyone has an excuse to daven wherever they want. You don't need a building. It doesn't matter. If COVID would be over, they'd push you to get some kind of building somewhere, probably. I don't know.
It's like Rabbi Feiner said to me 2 weeks ago. He says, "Aaron, it's not cold in the tent. It's probably time you should, shut it down." I said, "It may be cold, but you know where I am at 10 o'clock on Shabbos morning? Halfway through a bottle of scotch. Where are you?" He was not very happy with me, to be honest. But he appreciated it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
What? Tiago, I told you good?
If you had the guts to tell him that, call
Just like that.
to you.
Just like,
I
I
would be surprised if he turns up to your shul this week.
Yeah, he's been there many times. Don't worry.
What, for Shabbos, davening?
Different occasions,
No.
Kadeshim or whatever, Simchas,
Oh, okay, yeah.
He spoke in my tent probably 3-4 times.
Right, I heard, yeah.
I hear. All right, fine. I'm going to log
Down
on.
Simchas Torah they'll do it last year.
That's right. That's right.
What happened?
Simchas Torah, he was there last year.
Really?
Last year.
No
Simchas
way.
Torah.
Very
Fakafis,
fast.
yeah.
Nice.
No, when all the
Right,
shuls
Yeshua,
are
I
closed.
forgot about that. There's a shame we don't have cameras on that one. That would be
Oh my
good.
gosh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
You put it out, people would get upset at him.
Yeah. Zachor, my Rabbanis, the one my Shver used to say, he heard from Rav Elias Svei. You know how you know when a Rav is successful, or anybody, when you can fill Madison's Square Garden when people have tinnitus in you.
Yeah.
I hear that.
That's a good line, right?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, Tsiagis.
All right.
Did you see what I sent you about the shortcut?
Send me about the what?
The shortcut through shul.
What now? When did you send me? What?
No, this morning.
What did you send me?
I responded to your what's it called, status. I sent you, it could be that there's a difference in the way we think and talk about shul regarding a shortcut as opposed to everything else. In other words, it could be the Tanai that
Oh,
we
the
make-
shulchan and the shul.
Yeah. I was wondering if the Tanai that we inherently make when we build the shul today is that it shouldn't have kedusha space of knesses when we're not using it as a shul. It's not just that it should never have kedusha space of knesses. It has kedusha of a shul while it's being used as a shul.
Right.
The Mela in general, when I take a shortcut through a shul, I'm not saying, I'm taking a shortcut through a room. In my head, I'm saying I'm taking a shortcut through a shul. So if I'm giving it kedusha space of knesses as I'm taking a shortcut, then the Mela it's going to have kedusha to shul. I can't do that. In other words, the kalas reish after davening. Now it's not a shul, b'chlal. I'm not in shul. I'm in the kiddush room.
Right.
I'm in whatever. It's not right. When I'm taking a shortcut, then in my head I'm saying I'm taking a shortcut through a shul. But if you take a shortcut through a shul, you can't do that. It's just about the way we would word the Tanai. Instead of making the Tanai when you build a shul that it has no kedusha, it's more like when I build a shul, it has no kedusha when it's not being used as a shul. However, if I know I'm using it as a shul, for example, if I take a shortcut through a shul, in my head I'm saying, I'm taking a shortcut through the shul today, that's being used as a shul. I can't use a shul like that.
Right.
That's why maybe why shortcuts would be different than the rest, talking, illustration, all the rest of it.
Interesting. I hear you. All right. Fine. I want to look more into that now. I want to send out an additional today's halakha text, which I haven't had time to do. So I want to look more into that, what you're saying. So I'll see if I send something out, and then I don't know if I'll have time even now. Whatever, we'll try.
Well, we finished early. You're good.
I know, but I already
don't tell anyone you finished.
I know it's true, but yeah. Yeah. And tomorrow night is Lakewood to a bar mitzvah. Sheesh.
Oh wow! Again?
Yeah. And then Marchuk's making a wedding next Wednesday in Lakewood. Yeah.
I hear.
We'll just see.
Wait, next Wednesday in Lakewood. What's the date today?
11th.
Today's the 11th. So next Wednesday is the 19th. Oh wow.
18th. No?
Wednesday should be the 19th, no?
Oh, today's Tuesday. I don't even know what today is. Yeah. All right, fine.
All righty.
Good
Yashikayach.
Good night.
Good night.